So thanks for your interest in this short course, which seeks to demystify campaigning. My name is Jonathan Ellis, and I've got years of experience of running campaigns, but also, very importantly, supporting others to campaign for change around the world. And this course is all about explaining what campaigning is all about. Now, by the end of this short course, you'll be able to do a number of things. You'll be able to define campaigning. You'll be able to understand the different approaches to campaigning, and you'll know what makes for an effective campaign. When I think about campaigning, I think about three critical elements. The first is that it's so important to have a clear problem and a clear solution. I think it's really important to know who's got the power to make the change you want to see. And power is really important when it comes to campaigning, and to know what influences them. And finally, and very critically, it's having that burning desire to see change. So when you think about campaigning, you can think about an advertising campaign to advertise things. You can think about a fundraising campaign to raise money. You might think of an election campaign for votes. But here we're talking about an advocacy campaign, focused on advocating for a particular policy or practice change. Now, when I think about campaigning, I think it's so important to know what your cookie is. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, years ago, I went to a conference, and there was a guy there speaking called Mark Latimer. And at this conference, he gave one of the best definitions of campaigning I've ever heard. At the end of his speech, he was asked to define campaigning. And he said, imagine, if you would, a small girl at home in her kitchen with her mother. And the audience thought that he'd misheard the question. What's he talking about? He goes, no, bear with me, he goes. The little girl's got a problem. Her problem is that she's hungry. She can feel in her tummy that she's hungry. Now, she knows on the top shelf of the kitchen there's a cookie jar, and she wants a cookie. She knows the solution to her problem is getting a cookie, but she also knows that the person who's got the power to make the change she wants to see is her mum. She's got the power to give her a cookie. So she tries the direct approach. She goes, Mum, can I have a cookie? And her mum goes, no, you can't have a cookie. So she goes, Mum, you gave me a cookie yesterday. So she's using historic precedent. She's a clever girl, this one. Her mum goes, no, you can't have a cookie. So she thinks and goes, Mum, you gave my little brother a cookie. Her mum goes, no, you can't have a cookie. So again, she pauses and she thinks, and she runs next door into the lounge where her dad's watching TV, and you guessed it, she goes, Dad, Mum won't give me a cookie. And I just love that story. For me, that just sums up what campaigning is all about. That little girl was a great campaigner. She knew what a problem was. She knew what the solution to her problem was. She knew who had the power to make the change, and then she sought to influence that person. But above all else, what I love about that story is that she didn't give up. She kept on trying. I just love that story. Anyway, let's move on now and look at approaches to campaigning.